Dark Souls 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. It's got a stigmatism for being one of the toughest games made, and that's something that I just can't get behind because of how exploitable this game is. Now, it's true that maybe on a first playthrough you don't know what you're doing and you're gonna get stomped, but that's where I come in. Today we'll be crafting an easy playthrough, so easy that a baby could finish it, and I'm gonna show you just how to do it. This run we will be using multiple glitches and exploits. I may make another video more focused on a traditional run that excludes the usage of exploits. For now though, we will be using them to our heart's content. Alrighty, so here we have a list of the bosses in Dark Souls. Credit where credit is due, I did steal this off of a Reddit post. I'm just using it as a visual guide for what I'm about to yap about. So credit where credit is due, I have their username in the description. The person who made it. But these are the Dark Souls bosses. So starting with the Asylum demon, you'd work your way on getting the Sen's Fortress open. So you do the Bell Gargoyles and Quelaag. That would open up Iron Golem. You go fight Orenstein and Smough. Then you'd have to go backtrack a little bit, kill Pinwheel so you can get to Nito, Sif so you can get to the Four Kings, and go back to Orlando and kill Seath, and then Ceaseless Discharge is past Quelaag, and that leads you to the Bed of Chaos, where the door will open. You can go fight Gwyn. Now, to make it as easy as possible, let's start clearing out some of these bosses. So obviously we're going to, where is my mouse here? We're going to cross off all the DLC bosses. We don't need to fight a single one of those because, well, simply put, I don't want to put the effort in. The optional bosses can go off. You don't need to fight the Taurus demon. You can go around them if you get the Master Key, which you should do every time. We don't need to go to the Painted World and fight Crossbreed Priscilla. We don't need to fight Dark Sun Gwyn. The Capra Demon, Gaping Dragon. We don't even need to go down there because, again, we took the Master Key. So we don't need to go all the way around into Blight Town. We can just go through the Valley of the Drakes, I believe. Then we have the Moonlight Butterfly. We don't be fighting them. The Stray Demon. We don't need to fight them. And then either of these optional bosses in Lost Izalith are crossed off. And that leaves us with all of our required bosses. So if you were just going through all of the required bosses, this is what you'd be looking at. However, we can go even further beyond. We're going to start with the Asylum demon. There is an interesting skip you can do with the Asylum demon. It's not really a skip, it's more like a glitch. So we don't have to kill them. Up next, we're going to be looking at Quelaag. You don't actually have to kill Quelaag. There is a glitch you can do, or a skip rather, that allows you to bypass her and still ring the Bell of Awakening. So you can cross her off the list. Next, we're going to cross off Ceaseless Discharge. We can cross off Ceaseless Discharge because we will not be going to Lost Izalith, which I will be explaining later, but for now, he's off the list. Up next, we're going to look at the Bell Gargoyles. So the Bell Gargoyles are actually required. There isn't a skip yet to bypass them, even just get to the Bell of Awakening. Probably isn't going to be, just given the geography of that area. So we do have to fight the Bell Gargoyles. That will open up Sen's Fortress, where we can see, or we'll be met with the Iron Golem. The Iron Golem has a very peculiar and frame-perfect skip you can do. You can get sent to Orlando, so we do not have to fight the Iron Golem. Orenstein and Smough, while you can bug them out and make them very easy, you still have to defeat them, so they are another required boss. That leaves us with Pinwheel, Sif, and the 4 Lord Souls. Well, we're just going to be skipping all 4 of these lords. We don't have to fight a single one of them. And in turn, we don't have to fight Pinwheel, and we don't have to fight Sif. And there you go. You only need to fight 3 bosses in Dark Souls. There is a skip you can do to skip directly into the Kiln of the First Flame. That's why you don't need to fight the 4 lords, and in turn that would just eliminate Pinwheel and Sif, as you won't need the, what is it, like the ring of Artorias' Covenant. Artorias' ring, whatever gives you dark walking that you need to fight the Four Kings. You don't need to go get that because you're not fighting them. And then Pinwheel, you're not even going to go to the catacombs to fight Nito, so you can cross him off the list. Those are the 3. Now, realistically, and in the playthrough that I'm about to show, we're going to end up fighting Quelaag, and we're going to fight the Iron Golem. The reason for this is because while I would love to sit there and attempt the skip for Quelaag all day, I didn't really feel like it. It was just easier to walk in there and whack her real quick. And then the Iron Golem, you can just punch him 3 times and he falls over. So if you wanted to go about this the easiest, or not the easiest, but the minimum amount of bosses, these would be your 3. But I just don't think it's that efficient. If we're looking at this the easiest way, we're just going to end up killing Quelaag and the Iron Golem. I mean, you can also put the Asylum Demon in that boat, because you just punch it twice and it explodes. But I did show off that skip because it's very easy to do, or that glitch, or whatever you want the technical term is. So this is our list, and let's get into the journey. Character creation is quite simple. For our starting class, we're going to want to choose Thief. This is because the Thief starts with the Master Key without having to select it for its gift. As for the gift itself, we're going to want to choose Black Fire Bombs. They will be used very soon. We make our way through the Undead Asylum until our first encounter with the Asylum Demon. Here, we want to pelt the Asylum Demon with Fire Bombs. Once it has entered its dying animation, we're going to want to close the game and enter the main menu. Upon loading back in, we're going to want to run past the arena as if we were trying to skip the Asylum Demon's first encounter. Note that the Asylum Demon is still alive, despite the fact that we firebombed him. From here, we make our way to Oscar, firebomb him, and get the Estus Flask, as well as the Big Pilgrim's Key. This allows us to open the door that leads us out of the Undead Asylum, despite the fact that the Asylum Demon is still alive. This is the Asylum Demon Skip. An alternative method, if you're feeling frisky, is you can start as a cleric. For your gift, make sure you choose the best item, Master Key. Avoid the first encounter with the Asylum Demon, and make your way into the second encounter. Before you do anything, make sure you kill the undead that are located outside of the drop-down. Fidget yourself close to the center of the fog gate, and have your camera face straight down. Once you go through the fog gate, do a one-handed heavy attack with the mace, and while you're falling, do a light attack, so you do a plunging attack. If done successful, you should slingshot to the ceiling of the arena. Now, I wasn't able to get this one to work, so please forgive me. But if you do, you should land on a ledge, and you should be able to work your way down into the area where you can transport to the Firelink shrine. But just do the other way. From Firelink, we have 2 routes we can take. One is if we want to kill the Taurus demon, and the other one is if we want to avoid killing it. If we wanted to avoid killing the Taurus demon, we'll head to the New Londo ruins, taking the elevator below Firelink. We then head through New Londo to the Valley of the Drakes. We use our Master Key and head through the Valley of the Drakes until we get to another elevator. We're now at Darkroot Basin. Grab the Grass Crest shield while you're here, but avoid killing the Black Knight. Making your way up, make sure to kill the Crystal Lizard here. We'll need that Twinkling Titanite. Continue making your way up and through, and soon you'll be at Andre. Otherwise, if you don't care about killing the Taurus demon, make your way up to the Undead Bird. Continue up as normal and get to the Taurus demon. Then watch him slip on a banana. Pass the dragon and get to the outskirts of the Undead Parish. If you're quick enough about getting to the gate, you can slip through without having to go around. Then it's just a quick waddle to Andre. Now, why is Andre so important to our run? It's because he's going to get us infinite souls, and infinite humanity, and infinite titanite, and infinite power. First, we're going to start off with soul duping. While this glitch isn't inherently tied to Andre, we're doing it here because we're going to be here for a while. You can do this at any merchant that sells you 999 items of something. The first step is to invest in as many arrows as we can. Once purchased, go into your inventory. From here, navigate to the arrows and select drop, and then select as many as you can. Don't actually drop them, but back out of this menu. This will store the value of whatever the maximum amount of items you could have dropped was. Also, this next part, I'm doing it on PC. I probably should have mentioned that. Using a controller, navigate over to the Quit Game option in the settings, and hover your mouse over your inventory. Then in a very precise timing, you're going to want to hit A on your controller and left-click the inventory icon. You'll know you've done this right once your inventory opens up, but you will also see the prompt to quit the game. From here, navigate with your mouse to the item you want to use. Left-click it, then hover over where use would be, and select your maximum amount. You can use this on humanities too, and while you're here, you should do that. This is because humanity is tied with the luck stat in this game, and we're going to need max luck in order to get the Black Knight Halberd that we passed earlier. Once we have the Black Knight Halberd, we're going to want to max it out. We don't have nearly enough Twinkling Titanite to max it out, but this is where Andre proves to be the GOAT again. Using what we learned earlier, we're going to dupe souls and purchase 999 long swords from Andre. We're going to want all these 999 long swords in one nice little stack. So to do so, we're going to be using another glitch. Go over to the arrow tab in Andre's inventory. Hover your mouse over the left arrow so that you can quickly go to the sword inventory. You're going to want to hit A on your controller and left click the arrow so you can go into the sword inventory at nearly the same time. You'll know you've done this correctly if you can select 999 long swords. Buy 999 long swords. If you don't have enough for it, don't worry, it just takes all the souls you have.
Dupe more souls.
Once you dupe more souls, go to Andre's inventory and go to the option where you could buy another longsword. Cancel out of this menu. This will cause a data leak in where the game thinks you have a negative value. Using the same method as if we were going to dupe more stuff, go into the menu and hover over the Titanite tab with your mouse. Go into it and navigate to dropping the Twinkling Titanite. Select down on the D-pad with your controller and you should notice that you're dropping a negative amount. If you select OK, you will notice that your Titanite has gone up to 99. If you're not using the Black Knight Halberd, you can do this with any Titanite. Now we are overpowered and we haven't really fought a single boss. Now with the overflowing power that we have amassed, we're going to take on our first boss, the Iron Golem, baby! Typically, you'd go and ring the 2 Bells of Awakening by fighting Quelaag and the Bell Gargoyles, but this time we're doing it my way. Doing it this way is going to get us the Lord Vessel, and that way we don't have to trek back out of Blighttown. Make your way as if you were going toward the Bell Gargoyles and attract one of the undead soldiers. Lead them back onto the walkway that leads to Andre. Once you get them about halfway down the stairs, start parrying them and try to initiate your parry riposte from the edge of the stairs. What we are trying to do is activate a death barrier glitch by glitching through the armrests of the stairs. This may take a minute because it's finicky, but just think of this as extra practice towards Gwyn later on. You'll know you've done it right once you get the overhead death cam, and you've successfully not died. From here, we're going to try to make our way towards Sen's Fortress. This part sucks. Your controls are going to be all sorts of fucked up, and while you're making your way back, eventually you're not going to be able to see where you're going. Mash yourself into the walls until you make it into Sen's Fortress. Once you are thoroughly inside, quit out to the main menu and enter back in, and you should be inside. This allows us to enter into Sen's Fortress early without needing to defeat the Bell Gargoyles or Quelaag. Even though we're now in Sen's Fortress, we will still need to defeat the Bell Gargoyles and Quelaag later, as it is needed to progress into the kiln of the first flame. Framp will continue snoozing if you don't ring the Bells of Awakening. Now that you're inside, you just gotta make it to the Iron Giant. Good luck! If you didn't want to kill the Iron Golem and instead wanted to skip to Anorlando, how would you go about that? Using an Ultra Greatsword, if you run an attack while he's doing a grab attack, you might glitch out and get sent directly to Anorlando. From there, you just save quit, and then you'd be there. Unfortunately, there's just way too many variables for this one for me to even attempted it. Also, we punched him twice and he fell over. And just like that, we are now in Anorlando. Now that we've made it to Anorlando, our objective is Orenstein and Smough. Typically these two are a hurdle because they can get into a rhythm and stomp you easily. So to avoid getting our asses beat, we're going to cheese them. By parrying a Silver Knight directly at the fog gate, we can temporarily phase into the arena. This will trigger the start of the battle, but we will return to the other side of the fog gate that we came from. Now if we waddle on over to a bonfire, rest, and then return, Orenstein and Smough's AI will be stuck. Make sure you kill Orenstein first. If you kill Smough first, Super Orenstein doesn't spawn. You'll have to fight Super Smough normally, but this is going to be the most amount of effort we're going to put into this run. With Orenstein and Smough dead, we get access to the Lord Vessel. Before we go ahead and move on, you may have noticed that I've had Homeward in my miracle slot this entire time. This is one of 2 miracles that we're going to need to get into the kiln of the first flame. From Anorlando, warp back to Firelink Shrine. Talk to Petrus at Firelink until you can buy things from his inventory. Purchase Force, Homeward, and a talisman if you don't have one already. So long as you haven't rung the first Bell of Awakening or killed the Capra Demon, he should be here for you. Now we're going to work on ringing the Bells of Awakening. The Bell Gargoyles don't have any skips, so just kill them normally. Once we ring the first Bell of Awakening, we take a quick little detour to have Paladin Leroy kill Pinwheel for us. We do this so that we have access to the Rite of Kindling, which just makes things a lot easier. With it, we get more Estus. Once we get that, We now move on to Quelaag. Normally, if you wanted to get to Quelaag, you'd have to track all the way through Blight Town. That seems like an unnecessary slog. What if instead of going through Blight Town, we simply just rolled down it? There's a bug to avoid fall damage using mid-rolls. You need to be at a specific weight range in order for this to work, and according to this comment by Final TS, it should be between 25% and 29%. I would strongly recommend practicing this on the new Londo elevator before going into Blight Town. The trek we take to Blight Town is a long one, so if we mess up we get penalized. Once we are confident in our rolling ability, we head to the Valley of the Drakes. Then we head into Blight Town. Our goal here is to roll down the side of the cliff and land directly next to the elevator that leads down to the swamp. From there, just make your way to Quelaag, beat her, and ring the second bell. Now we have access to the Firelink altar. Now, in order to get to Gwyn, we're going to practice the dark arts of wrong warping. This is essentially a bug where the game forgets what bonfire you last rested at and doesn't know where to place you as a result. Depending on where you rested and where you're teleporting from, you'll get placed in a variety of locations. For our purposes, we're going to rest at the Firelink altar and teleport from the bonfire near Andre. In order for this to work, there's a ritual we have to perform. All at once, it's pretty intimidating, so I'm going to break it down step by step. First, equip your 2 talismans and Force and Homeward. Have 1 talisman in each of your hands. In a singular frame, you're going to want to use the Force Miracle and swap to the Homeward Miracle. In the next frame, you're going to want to use the Homeward Miracle. If you've done this right, you're using the Homeward Miracle but with the animation of the Force Miracle. Get this rhythm down. If you're confident that you have this down, rest at the Firelink altar and head to Andre's bonfire. Get up on the stairs arm rail in Andre's bonfire's room. Fidget yourself to the very edge where you have 1 foot dangling off but you're still on the rail. From here, you're going to want to perform the ritual we just did. As you do the force animation, you'll fall off the rail. If you manage to get the Homeward Miracle to go off while you're doing the force animation and you've fallen off the rail, quickly rest at the bonfire in the room. If the heavens have cracked and the stars have aligned, you'll notice that you're in the kiln of the first flame. If it's taking you a long time to do this, don't worry, it took me an hour and a half of attempts before I got it to work. Now we are ready to go fight Gwyn. Despite being the final boss of Dark Souls 1, he's a complete chud because he can get parried. As long as you have a shield, you should be able to win. As for our fight with Gwyn, I knew he was going to super attack in slot 1, so I popped LR Physical Gogeta Blue's active skill. This massively raised his attack temporarily and caused ultimate damage to Gwyn. Even though it wasn't enough to kill, it pulled all of Gwyn's attacks toward Gogeta. Gogeta had a 100% chance to dodge using his active skill, so Gwyn had no chance to attack him. I was then able to beat Gwyn with a hammer and win. And that was our casual stroll through Dark Souls. If you've made it this far into the video, I just wanted to say thanks for watching. This has been the first real project I've put together. I hope that you've either learned something or enjoyed the video. If there are any exploits or skips that I may have missed, leave a comment below. Otherwise, my name has been Skeletormandee, and have a good one.